The foundational claim of Christianity begins with a historical anomaly. Within days of his execution, the tomb of Jesus was found uniquely empty. Shortly after, hundreds of early followers claimed to interact with a bodily resurrected Jesus. This diverse group willingly suffered and died to defend that specific physical claim. But a bodily resurrection clashes with the harsh reality of thermodynamic entropy. When an organic body dies, its physical structure breaks down, dissolving into ash, and the information that comprised it scatters into the environment. If biological death irreversibly scrambles the physical data of a human being, physically reversing that process appears scientifically impossible. This leads to a philosophical trap known as the replica objection. Suppose that at the end of time, God simply rebuilds your body using a divine memory blueprint of your atomic structure. This diagram shows the problem with that software analogy. If God recompiles your data from a backup, he merely creates a perfect psychological clone. That copy has your memories, but it is a separate entity. A true bodily resurrection demands the survival of the exact same continuous subject. You have to wake up, not a perfect 3D printed replica of you. If the resurrection relies on simply copying your software state, your true self remains dead. Resolving this requires a metaphysical framework where your subjective identity never actually breaks. 13th century theologian St. Thomas Aquinas provided a rigorous way to address this paradox. He argued for hylomorphism. In this view, the human soul is not a passive data file. It is the active, substantial form of the body, the organizing principle that gives a human being its specific existence. At death, this form becomes the anima separata, or separated soul. The Church firmly rejected the idea of soul sleep, insisting that the subjective center remains entirely self-aware and continuous while awaiting the body's return. The late Pope Benedict XVI clarified this continuity through the concept of dialogical immortality. He observed that human identity survives precisely because it is actively known, willed, and loved by the Creator. Because this divine dialogue is eternal, your subjective center is sustained continuously. You cannot be cloned because the original you never stopped existing. So how does the physical body return to this unbroken soul? Aquinas noted the resurrected body differs from the mortal body in its condition, not its identity. To understand how this new condition operates, we look at the theoretical physics of reversible computation. This diagram illustrates a reversible computing loop, where dynamic processes execute completely without thermodynamic penalty or lost information. Similarly, in the eschatological new creation, the historical data of our bodies is conserved in the divine intellect, immune to physical entropy. The ancient theological doctrine of an impassible or glorified body maps perfectly onto a physical model where information and energy are flawlessly preserved. This leaves a final question. From our limited perspective, how is continuous identity mathematically protected against the ultimate local error of physical death? This 3D visualization represents the holographic principle and quantum error correction. It shows how the information contained within a higher dimensional bulk volume can be perfectly encoded on its lower dimensional boundary. Through quantum error correction, a fragile state inside that bulk can be perfectly reconstructed, even if the boundary data is highly scrambled or destroyed. Applying this as a conceptual analog, the dispersed ashes and decayed remains of a body act as the degraded boundary data, while the fully resurrected identity operates like the mathematically protected bulk. Radical physical dissolution does not guarantee the permanent annihilation of the human person. Both Catholic dogma and theoretical quantum physics point toward the same reality. You are an indestructible center of meaning, destined for the total reintegration of matter and spirit.